Hi everyone, my name is Zoe Winward-Doffenbaugh, and for my spice value, I chose community. Out of all the values, community is the one that has shaped my life the most, sometimes in beautiful ways and other times in really painful ways that forced me to grow. Before I even started this class, a former William Penn student told me, pick one spice value and make it your focus, really live it. At the time I thought, why? It's just a class. But when the final project came around and I finally had to choose, their advice suddenly made sense in a way I didn't see coming. I chose community not because of it's always been my guiding word, but because when I reflected on my life throughout this course and asked myself what truly matters, community was the value that pulled at me the hardest. For this project, I didn't just want to define community because anyone can make a definition of that. I wanted to actually take the value and actually live it. I wanted to see what would shift in my world if I made a deliberate effort to show up for others and to be present. I know what it feels like to need that. I know what it feels like to need someone to show up for you and for them to actually do it. Part of the reason I chose community is because I also know what it feels like to not have a community. I know what it's like to be overlooked, underestimated, or even bullied by even bullied due to health issues. I know what it feels like when teachers talk about you instead of to you. I also know what it feels like when your best friends literally walk all over you. Those moments shape you, they soften you, they tear you apart, and they eventually strengthen you. And they make you realize just how powerful and life-changing community actually can be. At the same time, I've experienced the good side of community. The people have shown up for me without hesitation. My family, my students, my coworkers, my husband, Nathan, and his friends have all taught me what a supportive, genuine community looks like. It's not perfect. It's not always loud or obvious, but it's real. I chose community with understanding that it aligns most with the leader and the human I am working to become. This brings me to my first topic, what I did throughout the course and how I lived out community on purpose. Once I chose community as my spice value, I realized something important. This wasn't just something I lived out for a week. I had actually been practicing it through the entire course without even naming it. One of the biggest examples of this was my service project. I helped prepare and serve a full dinner for a local church, and I didn't just show up, I poured myself into it. I helped decorate the church for Christmas by making the space warm and welcoming for families who need comfort, joy, and a reminder that they weren't alone during the holidays. I got to provide the church with homemade enchiladas and homemade Christmas cookies. Seeing the look on people's faces was all worth it, though. It was clear that day that there was a community in action at that church, and it was magical to witness. Another moment that happened at my work was my coworkers and I realized that the janitor was running late, and we knew she had been overwhelmed and exhausted due to a family matter. So before she arrived, we all jumped in together and cleaned as much as the classroom as humanly possible. Tables, floors, toys, supplies, we moved like an army. Not because we had to, but because by helping someone else breathe easier is what a community is. When she walked in and we saw the relief on her face, we knew we did the right thing. There was also the time I did the angel tree. Instead of just grabbing a random item and checking the box, I took time to actually think about the child behind the card, their hopes, their needs, their excitement. I didn't want them to just receive a gift. I wanted them to feel seen, heard, and valued. Because I know what it feels like when someone makes you feel special when you don't expect it. It wasn't only the big moments that mattered, though. It was the everyday ones, too. Such as encouraging the students who were having a rough day, checking in on my coworkers, choosing patience even when I was tired, and simply being the steady person someone could lean on if they needed. Doing all these things, big and small, taught me a lot about myself. This brings me to my next topic of what is it that I learned about myself. Throughout this course, I learned that community isn't just something I value, it's something I was born to create. I learned that I find purpose when I'm supporting others, making spaces feel welcome, and helping people feel like they belong. This course helped me slow down and recognize the things that I do without thinking, such as encouraging others, stepping in to help, and noticing people who are struggling. But part of understanding why community matters to me meant being honest with myself about where that desire actually comes from. Yes, some of it comes from the hard parts. I know what it feels like to not have a community. I know what it feels like to be talked about instead of talked to be underestimated and bullied because of your health issues, to have teachers dismiss you or students literally walk all over you. Those moments shape you. Like I said before, they teach you how painful it is to be invisible. That's only half of my story. The other half, the half that gave me strength, is the beautiful community I do have. My family is incredible. They love me, support me, and fight for me. My husband, Nathan, is a constant source of support. The two churches I've become close with have welcomed me with open arms. They've shown me what genuine support looks like, and that the kind that sees you and accepts you and prays for you, and that's what I needed. Those positive experiences taught me what a real healthy community feels like. And when you put both sides together, the hurt and the healing, you get a deeper understanding of what community actually is and why it matters so much. The hard moments taught me what I don't want people to feel, and the good moments taught me what I do want people to experience. So I learned that I build community because I come from both pain and love. My next topic is how living out community changed my perspective. Living in a community-focused way throughout this course completely changed the way I see people and the way I see my role in their lives. I began noticing the small details more, like the tiredness in someone's eyes, the hesitation in someone's step, the way a coworker's eyes light up when someone acknowledges their work, the look in a mom's eye when her kid is screaming and crying through Walmart. I recognized how much people carry silently and how much it means when someone genuinely takes time to care. Cleaning the classroom for a janitor showed me how acts of service can lift a weight off someone's shoulder. Decorating the church and preparing dinner showed me how beauty and kindness can create connections across generations and backgrounds. The angel tree reminded me that community isn't just proximity, it's about choosing to care for people you may never even meet. There was also the time when my husband and I saw an old couple with ice outside who needed groceries, and so we went in and we took their list and we bought their groceries for them and brought it back out to the car. Or the time when we went and bought a couple blankets and handed them out to the homeless people around Des Moines because it was suddenly cold. I also saw how the community multiplies. When I showed up with kindness, others joined me. When I took initiative, others followed. The energy you put into the world and into building a community will really come back to you. And that's one of the biggest perspective shifts, was realizing that community isn't accidental, it's intentional, and it's up to you by building it through your actions and choices and small moments. This brings me to my final point. Why does community matter for my future? Choosing to focus on community didn't just shape my semester, it shaped my direction. I now know that this value will follow me far beyond this course. As a current coworker, student, wife, daughter, sister, associate, children's leader, friend, and so much more, and as a future educator, service leader, and even someday a mom, community will be at the center of everything I do. I want to build classrooms where every student feels safe and seen. I want my workplace to feel supportive and uplifting. Community also matters personally. After experiencing trauma and bullying and isolation in the education system, I've worked hard to heal, and choosing community feels like reclaiming my voice. My husband Nathan, my family, my coworkers, my students, friends, churches, they have shown me what real community is. This isn't just a spice value, it's my calling, it's part of my testimony, and it's one heck of a testimony that I will continue to share and live out. Because at the end of the day, community isn't something you find, it's something you have to build yourself. It's something you choose, and it's something you give away freely, even when you've never had it yourself. As I wrap up this project, what stands out to me most is how deeply this value has shaped me. Community isn't just something I practice for a class, it's something that has genuinely changed the way I move forward with the world. Choosing a community helped me understand myself better. It reminded me that I feel most fulfilled when I'm serving, supporting, and lifting up the people around me. It showed the leadership isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet and steady. This project didn't just challenge me academically, it challenged me personally. It made me more aware, more grateful, and more grounded in who I want to be. The term community will continue to guide me long after this assignment is over. It's something I believe in, something I want to build, and something I want to share, because I've seen firsthand how powerful it can be when people feel seen, supported, and valued. Thank you.